And I have to tell you, with all of this, when I get to number 1, it's going to be the most important thing, because if you give in to number 1, you might as well just count yourself lost.
Not do the rest of it.
You might as well just not do the rest of it. Okay, so we're going to give you 5 tips on how to prepare your family for what's coming. Number 5, make do with what you have. You may not be able to eat that particular food you like. You may not be able to have a 3-meat sandwich with lettuce and tomatoes and sliced onions. You may have to have a bologna sandwich, or even just 2 pieces of bread with mayonnaise like my grandpa ate every day for school.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to be able to have everything that you always wanted, and you're going to have to make do with the things that you do have.
Yeah, and you could do this by just making a fun game out of it. Say, this Saturday we're going to do the bare minimum foods, you know, or something like that. Let's practice for today, eating nothing but, you know, like emergency type foods, and just make a game out of it, and let them get used to eating some of this stuff.
Yeah.
That, you know, they normally wouldn't have.
Yeah.
And just so you have to practice this stuff ahead of time, you know, and put it into practice a little bit, not too extreme, but just a little bit.
Yeah. Number 4, you're gonna be uncomfortable, and you're gonna have to just accept it. You are not gonna be able to keep your heat at 78 degrees in the winter. You may have to keep your heat at 50 or 55 degrees and bundle up. You're not going to be able to turn on your AC to 65 in the summer.
You have to use a fan instead, or something, or find other ways to keep cool. And once again, start slow. Turning your temperature down just a couple of degrees, or up, whichever season it is, and find ways, like in the summer, how can I cool down? You know, what do? You take a shower maybe a couple of times a day, or splash your face with water, or, you know, just you have to learn these types.
You're not going to be able to take a shower every single day. You may not even be able to take a shower at all. Yeah.
But, you know, you learn how to become more, you pull the blinds down in the summer so the sun's not beating in really hot. In the winter, you may have to put plastic over your windows or a blanket to keep the cold air from. Start learning these skills now, and these types of things now.
You may have to be hungry. You may not be able to eat all day long. You may have to cut back to eating 1 meal a day, or 2 meals a day, or just, heaven forbid, 3 meals a day. We just snack all day long here in America.
Well,
you may have to sit down and eat 2 eggs and a piece of toast, or 1 egg and a piece of toast for breakfast, and that's it.
Yeah, even if a lot of people just start eating a little bit less than piling their plates full of stuff, you'll not only save money, but you'll probably lose a little bit of weight. But you'll get used to, you know, having to do without. We haven't had to do without anything. Everybody's had everything they've wanted, pretty much.
Yeah, I think we just lost a whole bunch of people with, you're going to have to eat less.
But, you know, really, it's like you don't have to have 3 pieces of meat, you know, at each meal.
You can have 1 piece of bologna with 2 or 1 or 2 slices of bread.
Yeah, on a sandwich. You don't need to, for the thin sliced meat, you don't have to have a half inch of meat on there. You can use 2 or 3 little thin slices.
Number 3, your kids are going to have to do some work. Now, this is actually a really big problem in America, where parents don't even give their kids chores now. And so kids just don't even expect that they have to work at all. And quite frankly, I would right now, if your kids aren't doing chores and stuff, get them helping you with stuff and doing chores around the house.
Okay, we're going to lose a whole bunch more people now.
Oh, no.
Because
she's doing it this time, not me.
Because to me, not teaching your children how to do everyday chores and stuff is almost a form of child abuse, because you are not teaching them skills that they need for when they become responsible adults. You're not teaching them to be responsible. You're not teaching them to do hard work. And so they grow up and they just don't know how to do any of this stuff. You don't know how many people, and I say this fearlessly because you don't know how many people we get saying, my parents never taught me this. I want to learn how to cook. I need to learn how to clean. I need to do all kinds of stuff. So whatever it is, or even carpentry or just basic car mechanics, they haven't been taught how to do any life skills. And I think that's wrong. Shame on parents for being so busy because they're working so hard to get all this money, but they're just ignoring their kids and what their kids needs really are.
And I hate to say it, but you need to stop taking your kids to all the activities and spend that time teaching them how to cook at home, how to fix things at home.
We put so much emphasis on they have to be in football and baseball and ballet and music.
Honor society.
None of those things, they're all okay to have on a small scale. Maybe one activity or two.
But none of those matter in life at all.
But for life skills, and we totally ignore life skills. We put all of our emphasis on something they're not probably going to ever use once they become adult. And spend thousands of dollars on these things, but we don't teach them basic chores.
Number 2, arm yourself. And you're going to say, oh, Tara, you're one of those people. I'm not necessarily talking about Mr. Smith and Mr. Wesson. I personally am good with Mr. Smith and Mr. Wesson. And if you try to come to our house, you will be greeted by them. But there are a lot of ways that if you are not able to do that, or able like now to even acquire that, there are a lot of other ways to arm yourself and your kids and your family. And you need to teach everyone. What are some other ways you could do it? Mace, pepper spray, bear spray, wasp spray. Wasp spray will spray.
It sprays
12
farther
feet.
than any of those, That's
As a matter of fact, I would almost rather have wasp spray over mace, or maybe bear spray would be okay. But
that's what I keep is wasp spray because it'll shoot farther. And you can actually take self-defense courses too. Things like that.
Knives. Get yourself a good old butcher knife. You don't have to use it, but if you needed it in an emergency situation and you don't use it in the kitchen, you know, it would be good. A bat, fire pokers, anything like that. But teach your kids that it's okay to defend themselves.
I was going to say the main thing is you have to have confidence that you can do this. You have to have this attitude that I am going to protect my family and myself no matter what. And you can't be a wuss about this. You have to be learn to be brave.
And each one of our boys in school, we have always taught them, well, and Ellie too, but each one of our kids in school, we've always said, you know what? You do everything you can to avoid a fight, but sometime there's going to be a time you're going to have to defend yourself. And when that time comes, you defend yourself and you do it with everything you have
to.
The thing is, you have to teach your kids and you have to be okay with defending yourself when you need to.
And if they have if they have confidence in life, period, they're not going to be picked on quite as much. That doesn't mean not at all, but not quite as much.
Number 1, if you don't have this, truly there's no hope for you. But we will not give in to fear.
This
period. Since February of 2020, me and my family have not given into the fear that has been absolutely consuming our nation and the world. We have not given into it. And we are not going to give into it either for what's coming.
And the reason why people don't understand why we push this so hard, if you give into fear, anger, any other type of emotion like that,
lose control.
You cannot, your brain, and this is a proven medical fact, your brain, something happens and you can't think logically. You're just living with your emotions. And when you lose that logical thinking, you don't know what to do in awful situations, in scary situations. You don't know how to get out of them or to keep from going into them. And you just can't think. You can't think practically. You can't think logically when you're getting... That's why the Bible says, do you know how many times it says, fear not, fear not, fear not, don't be afraid, don't be afraid. Because God made us and He knows the moment we give into fear and that type of thing, we lose all functioning power. You cannot function physically, properly when you give in to fear.
Yep.
That's
And if
the bottom
you're a
line.
Christian, God has specifically said he is going to take care of you no matter what.
Well, why would he? He's always taken care of me, period. Why would he not do it now?
Yeah.
Why would he leave it at the most crucial time in my life that I would maybe need
Yeah.
him? If he's taking care of you in everyday life all the time, do you not think he's going to even do more
Yep.
so? in
And
harder
it
times?
specifically says he knows the day you're born and the day you die. So if you get that thing going around, if you're a Christian, you do not need to be afraid of any of it. Now, I understand if you're not a Christian that you can give in to that fear, and I would honestly say, you know what, you need to look at turning your life around and giving it to Jesus, because that's the only way
The only
you're
thing.
really
I
going to be
know.
able to deal with it.
I
But
know.
we are not and will not give in to fear. It's just not going to happen.
And you know your children will react to
Yeah.
that fear. I've been in situations that have been really, really scary. My husband and I both. But we stayed calm. And we didn't get, and the kids can sense fear. You can't just pretend on the outside that you're calm. You have to inside keep yourself calm and learn how to do that, because your kids will sense it. Even a little baby, when you're afraid, that baby will start crying and screaming because they can sense something's wrong. This is how bad fear is and how it'll mess up not only you but your children. And you have got to learn, and your kids will watch you. And, you know, I was talking about confidence before. If they watch mom and dad not give in to fear and they have a sense of confidence, they're brave, the kids are going to be, they're going to react just like mom and dad. So if you're afraid, your kids are going to wallow in that fear just like you. If you can't do it for no other reason, do it for your kids, you know.
And your grandkids.
And your grandkids,
Yep, so number one is make the decision that you are not going to give in to fear. One of the ways to not be into fear is to be prepared. Now, you do everything you can to be prepared, to be prudent, but you're not doing it because you're fearful.
Yeah.
You're doing it because God tells us that we need to be like the ant and store up for when times are bad. But you don't need to do it out of fear. And that's where the difference
Because
is.
God expects us to do certain things, and then he does the rest.
Yep.
When you've done everything you can on your part, you've gotten prepared and done all that, then he will totally, you know.
So check out our video on 10 items you need to stockpile before inflation hits. It will give you some great ideas on how you can prepare. Also, I have how to stockpile for $5. It's a super easy printable to show you how to get started, and just takes you step by step so you can get stockpiled for any emergency situation. Please visit us at livingonadime.com. Tell Jenny goodbye. Everybody
Jenny's our
say
little dear.
goodbye. Bye, Jenny. We'll see you later. Have a good day. Visit us at
Bye-bye, guys.
livingonadime.com.